Part 8. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 72. Chapter 71. Wow, boy, you're so ridiculous, let that girl talk nonsense, my ancestors are Ecchi. Huang Quan ancestor laughed. Ye Kong was afraid that Xiao Hong would be corrupted by Ye Wu when he returned, so he took out the small sword weapon and brought it to Xiao Hong. Of course, it was not for Huang Quan's ancestor to protect Xiao Hong, but for Huang Quan to be an eavesdropper. Roll. Huang Quan's ancestors can see the situation of Xiao Hong's body through the small sword. If there is something unexpected, he can immediately tell Ye Kong with spiritual knowledge. Therefore, Xiao Hong's obituary to the second wife made Huang Quan's ancestors hear it clearly. Ye Kong laughed. If you don't make a bizarre and slightly colorful story, the second wife won't believe it. Looks like she has already believed, so what are you going to do next? Huang Quan ancestor asked again. I asked Xiao Hong to wash her pants because she wanted the second wife to understand that time didn't wait for someone, and what had to be done so that she could act quickly, otherwise I would not have time to stare at her every day. So, this cheat is going to be returned, Mrser said to herself. Of course, otherwise he would have been found. Xiao Hong's face was horrified, as if terrified by the plague god. When will you go back at the latest? Mrser asked again. I washed his pants and hung them up. When the pants dry tomorrow morning, maybe he will ask me for it. The second wife didn't speak, she groaned for a while, and said, enough, time is enough. After that, she comforted Xiao Hongdao again. Okay, you have worked hard. Mrs. Ben promises you a good home, you go back to your room to rest, wash your face, and sleep for a while. Yes, Mrs. second. The second wife did not ask Xiao Hong to marry her son this time, but only said she had a good home. Obviously, letting herself marry a woman who has served other men with her mouth is unacceptable to her. Of course, this is also the intention of Ye Kong to let Xiao Hong say this. Huang Quan's ancestors finished reporting to Ye Kong, and he was very happy. Xiao Hong didn't know that there was a baby with a beard in his face. Huang Quan's ancestors could not only see Xiao Hong's activities in the room, maybe he could also watch go to Xiao Hong to take a bath. Huang Quan's ancestors are looking forward to it, but Ye Kong has calculated everything. How can he forget this? He told Xiao Hong not to take a bath. Although Xiao Hong wants to take a bath today, at least she needs to wash the bottom, but she can bear it when she thinks of Ye Kong's advice. As soon as Xiao Hong left, the second wife immediately got busy. First, she sent someone to call the master of martial arts brought by her maiden house to let him tell the truth. The martial arts masters read it again, and surely these are indeed two good martial arts cheats, but he also believes that this martial arts is not so magical, and God has become the top master in 2 years. However, the second wife did not care too much. After all, Ye Kong may have other adventures with these two cheats. After that, ask about them later. At present, the cheats are important. Then the second wife hurried to call the painter and described it as the cheats. She was busy all afternoon, but very happy. Hee, since you are not an immortal, then Ye Kong, wait for death. It was finally dark, and the second wife hid 2 cheats in her sleeves and ordered someone to prepare a sedan chair and hurried to the back door of Yefu. The second wife just left, and Xiao Hong's room light turned on and off again. Then Xiao Hong slipped out of the door quietly and went to the second wife's room to confirm that she was really not there. She also hurried out of the yard. She moved, Ye Kong was overjoyed. The woman still couldn't help moving, and she was leaving the house in the middle of the night. It was obvious that the second wife secretly dated someone, she must have a longing for her. Just stay in my room and wait for me to come back. Oh, give me that little sword. Ye Kong walked out of the room, gave himself an invisibility, and chased out. Last night I told you not to follow you. I still want to go today, alas, If you don't listen to my ancestor, then you will regret it, Huang Quan said. I regret what I did and do yesterday because it was nothing to do with me. Today's follow-up revealed that there are new situations, all of which are correct decisions. There is nothing wrong with it. Yekong hides himself, following the dangling coop, using consciousness and Huang Quanlao ancestor dialogue. It's all the right decision? I don't give myself much money. I want to say that the right decision is to capture her and use soul search. Yekong shook his head and laughed. Wow, your approach is really rude and direct, but if you do a search and find that it is wrong, then kill me. Yekong said again, it's wrong, kill it. It's not wrong, let's kill it. You really kill people. My ancestor, the people I killed in those days are so many. What are you, cut? The two quarreled and followed the sedan on a boulevard. After a while, the sedan walked into a deep alley. In the secluded alley in the middle of the night, the echo of the footman's footsteps spread far away. Who did she go to see? Huang Quan ancestor asked again. If you don't go to Zhangchun Tower, then there are only the Lu family brothers and the Iron Company. I think it is more likely to be the Iron Company. Huang Quan's ancestor shook his head. I don't think Taijianxi is so bold. Didn't you see him see your face turn blue? Besides, Taijianxi is much younger than MRS2 and it is unlikely to be linked. According to you, the brothers of the Lu family are much older than the second wife, and it is impossible to associate them. Yes, I guess it's not the brothers of the Lu family, nor is it the Iron Company. Who else is there? Yekong found that the front sedan had stopped, and the second wife raised the car curtain and came out. You are waiting for me here, and I will come out in a moment. The second wife went up 2 steps and walked into a large house. The big house also had no door plaque. It was not like the official house but a new uninhabited new house. Yekong didn't think so much, and found that everyone in the house knew the second wife, and then the second wife sat in a bedroom and waited, and an old man who looked like a family member left the house at the same time. Yekong followed his hometown to the back door of a big house not far away. I saw that this house was unusually impressive. The back door was bigger than the main entrance and there were 2 stone lions outside. Another official, or an officer, Huang Quan ancestor said. That's right, Yekong nodded. At this time, he could be sure who the second wife was to date, and he felt a strong crisis at the same time. Sir, please slow down. A middle-aged man stepped out of the courtyard, walked out of the courtyard, followed his 2 brothers, and walked towards the big house where the second wife was. Who is this? Huang Quan ancestor asked. If I'm not mistaken, he is Lord Chen Qingfang, the city guard of the south capital. Yekong snorted coldly. Huang Quan's ancestors suddenly realized, oh, yes, he is the backstage boss of Taiji Division, why did he forget him? Soon, Chen Qingfang and his second wife met. Since the boy is practicing martial arts, he is not an immortal. I am relieved, Chen Qingfang said with a sigh of relief after listening to the second wife's narration. The second wife said, but I heard a lot of people say that the boy was meditating in the room for a few days. How can this situation be explained? Chen Qingfang laughed. Big Red, wow, you don't know. There are many martial arts that must be practiced internally, but those internal skills are far worse than the fairy. Huang Quan's ancestor cried in Yekong's ears, Big Red, I spit, the second wife's girlfriend's name is so good. No wonder the name she got for her is Xiao Hong, haha. It's very earthy. Yekong sat down opposite them, sticking an incognito. They didn't know that the calculation was just opposite. Then there are internal skills in these 2 cheats, the second wife asked again. No, this is all martial arts. Chen Qingfang turned the book and said. It seems that Xiao Hong will go to the boy again to inquire. The second wife nodded, and suddenly found that Chen Qingfang's hand wrapped around her waist again. Qingfang, don't mess around, I want to go back early today. Hey, today you found out that the boy is not a cultivator. He has done great work for His Majesty, and I will also be praised by His Majesty. Haha, how can I not reward you? Chen Qingfang smiled and stretched out his hands to undress the second wife. Buckle. Don't the second wife refuse to return, and Ren Chen Qingfang unbuttoned her clothes. Qingfang, if Her Majesty really wants to deal with Yeharen's crime, can you spare me and my 2 sons? Huh, Yeharen bullied the emperor to take pride in his own soldiers. The punishment must be a major crime of the Julian 9, Chen Qingfang's eyes flashed coldly, his hands paused, and his expression eased. Big Red, you have done your work, I will protect you and his son are not dead. Qingfang, you are so kind. The second wife looked very moved and hugged Chen Qingfang. Big Red, I will try my best to protect you even if I don't make a contribution. I was your admirer, and I was thinking that if one day I can grow old with you, I am the happiest. Things, but who knows that your father gave you to Yeharen's martial artist. Wow, the celestial sages of Rita are really an old house that catches fire. It is getting older and stronger, stronger than young people. Yakong called again through divine awareness. Old man, aren't you eager to watch these? Live broadcast. Wow, hurry up. Qingfang, I have another thing to ask for your help. Said MRS2 panting. Say it. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 73. Chapter 72, Soul Search. At that time, you must give Yakong mother and son to me. The second wife thought of Yakong, and immediately showed a savage intention on her face. It seemed that she really hated Yakong so much that she even enjoyed this moment of joy. I have forgotten, this made me lose my face. I couldn't lift my head in front of the subordinate, and I had to swallow in front of his ugly girl to pretend to be affectionate. This is the biggest grievance I have ever suffered in this life. I want to let them pay the price. So what are you going to do to them? Chen Qingfang asked. How? The second wife clenched her hate tightly and gritted her teeth. I also want their mother and son to taste humiliation, torture them slowly, and pay them back 100 times what they gave me. Let them think it's hard to die. Yakong heard the chilling air behind her. This woman is so venomous, she can't see it on the surface. If she didn't find something to follow today, she might as well treat her well. Here you rest assured. Even if you don't torture him, I have to torture him well. Chen Qingfang said, the of plague, let Chen Xiaofu face sweep in public, and give me no face at all. Now the people in the southern capital say that Chen Qingfang is afraid of him. I went all over the sentence. Chen Qing was really innocent, and when I saw 8 young people, it turned into a heaven. Damn, it was too bullying. He is not an immortal and so crazy. As long as you and I are in the same heart, sooner or later, that of plague will be turned into chicken of plague, the second wife scolded resentfully. Well, I'm going to wait for His Majesty to rule Yeharen, so I will dispose of the plague in advance, prepare some masters, sneak into Yefu, tie his old mother first, and then stop him while he meditates. Yakong took a breath. The two were really wicked. If they were not the cultivators, their end would be tragic and terrible. Even if they were monks, if they let them attack, the old lady and Lucine would be miserable. Well, now that you are so vicious, let me turn you into a pair of grudges. Yakong raised his hand and lifted the invisibility of his forehead. Chen Qingfang was having a good time, but his heart suddenly moved, and when he looked up, he saw a Xingyi boy standing opposite and smiling at him. You, Chen Qingfang stared at the boss, pointing at Yakong who appeared out of thin air, and asked incredulously, is it a man or a ghost? Huh, what are you afraid of without a ghost in your heart? Yakong smiled and took off the small sword weapon from his waist. The second wife was facing away from Yakong. When she heard Yakong's voice, she turned back like an electric shock. Why are you here? MRS second also had a panic-like expression. Yakong really admired the panic expression of the dogs and men, and smiled coldly at the corners of his mouth. Go on, why not go on? Continue to talk to you about my torture ideas. After a short panic, Chen Xingfang and MRSER calmed down quickly. They quickly pulled their clothes and approached the doorway at the same time, ready to flee as soon as possible. Ye Kong, you are trying to assassinate the imperial court officials, do you know? This is a capital crime. Chen Qing was approaching, and Guanwei was still very full, but his tone was a little bit angry. He pointed at Ye Kong sternly and slowed his breath. If you lost your way, my official will forgive you for the first time, and nothing happened, and my official will never hold you accountable. She added her pants while adding, and, don't tell what you see today. Ye Kong snorted, walked over and kicked the second wife to the ground, kicked her around her neck, and scolded, I said, do you have any brains? Take care of your face. Is it not clear how serious the matter is? The question now is, do you still have the life to walk out of this door? And you? Ye Kong pointed to Chen Xingfang, you actually have to hold me accountable? Really, her mother is so funny, you should eat more pig brain in your next life, so stupid to be an official. Chen Xingfang knew Ye Kong's intentions this time, but did not panic, but calmly sneered, Ye Kong, I know you are very good, but you know, as long as I shout, many people will hear from outside, and I ordered them not to rush to save me when they heard the distress signal, but to return to the city to report it, so that your actions will be made public. Haha, it will soon be heard by the Emperor of Endu. Chen Xingfang felt very much smart, he even laughed, and then suddenly shouted, you! Are you afraid of your majesty? Ye Kong smiled disdainfully, how is the Emperor? He is awesome. I said many times, I am a hooligan, don't mess with me. Whoever messed with me, I will play with him to the end. The Emperor messed with me, I make him regret it as well. And, I forgot to tell you that the servants in this house have already done it. No matter how you shout, no one will run in, of course, they will not run out, I do not believe you try it. After hearing this, Chen Xingfang was desperate, but he was not a civil servant, and he also had martial arts, which seemed pretty good. I fight with you, Chen Xingfang suddenly yelled, slammed his palm with one hand, and slammed Ye Kong men. Chen Xingfang said, damn, Lao Tzu practiced martial arts at an early age, but also martial arts. You, a teenage doll, have only been martial arts for 2 years. I do not believe in this evil, I do not believe in defeating you. This martial art, I'm ashamed to show off, Ye Kong sneered, and then jumped up in a shadow dance pose, volleying, kicking, and turning over, a set of actions like piers and flowing water, very relaxed, just like dancing. One kick kicked Chen Xingfang, and Ye Kongpin landed on the ground, and then stood back to where he was, stepping on the second wife he wanted to sit on. Yeah, Chen Xingfang spit out blood, he did not expect Ye Kong Liuzhong to be so high, and he practiced martial arts for a lifetime, even he could not catch even an understatement. Is this someone who has only practiced for 2 years? What kind of martial arts does he use so elegantly and freely? Old man, you can't kill me. I'm your second mother. I let your mother live in the backyard. Today, I took my son to apologize to you, forgive me. The second wife was trampled by Ye Kong, then I begged. Sorry to say that. If I didn't listen to your conversation today, I thought you were a good person, Ye Kong said, kicking off the pants hanging on the second wife's knee. This action made the second wife see hope. She suddenly held Ye Kong's legs and cried out, old man, I know you like to be sucked. Xiao Hong told me, as long as you spare my life, what's wrong with you? I also can. The second wife saw that he would not allow herself to wear pants, and thought he was thinking about that. She didn't care about shame, so she reached out and grabbed Ye Kong's pants crotch. But who knows, Ye Kong kicked her away, as a femme fatale woman like you, how can I make you alive? Hey, I won't let you wear pants, it's a friend of mine who hasn't seen it for years. I want to see, old man, come out. Chen Qingfang had some insight in the end. When he saw the white light flying out of the small sword turned into a bearded baby, he shouted, Yuan Ying. You, are the cultivator. Then he scolded the second wife, you stupid woman, your husband was killed by you. Old ancestors, don't hurry to touch them. Ye Kong smiled and said, go and use Chen Qingtian to search the soul. I want to see how the emperor and the old man arrange it. After a tea time, a slight invisible air flickered at the door of the mansion. Ye Kong had already left, and those who had been put on the sleeping sign would naturally wake up. Ye Kong did not kill those who descended. He was unwilling to kill innocent people. For another reason, he did not want to let people know that the two were murdered. Before he left, he put Chen Qingfang and his wife in a pose. I think these two people are too excited, and immediately go crazy. How about? Enough touch today, Ye Kong asked on the way back. Haha, cool, ancestor, I really envy you have a body. The ancestor Huan Quan is in a good mood, but he yearns for a physical body, so that is not so simple to touch, you can do something good. Then what did you find in Chen Qingfang's head? Ye Kong asked again. A lot, which way? When will the emperor's attitude towards Ye Harem be guilty? Will it really be a poison to Yefu? These are Ye Kong's most worried. Well, the emperor's attitude is not very clear. This Chen Qingfang may not be the emperor's confidant. The emperor just asked him to be a city defender in the south. He didn't order anything. Looking for evidence of Ye Harem's confusion, it was just that he guessed the meaning. Do it yourself. Ah. That's it? That's worthless. Ye Kong was a little depressed, but he didn't dare to relax. Ye Kong had seen many costume plays and knew the emperor's mind. Many times the emperor will not say anything directly, let you try to figure out the divine will. If you guess it, you will be promoted. If you guess wrong, it will be unlucky. If things go wrong, the emperor will say I didn't say anything. I'll sell you. Be a dead ghost. However, Chen Qingfang is so convinced that it shows that the divine will is obvious. Ye Kong has no way to deal with the emperor. After all, there is still a cult of immortals standing behind the emperor. Even if Ye Kong is a cultivator, he may not be afraid. Maybe they will also send high-level cultivators to start first, to kill themselves first. It seems that we still have to work hard to improve the realm. Ye Kong sighed, speeding up the pace of going back. How's it going? As soon as Ye Kong went back, Xiao Hong was still waiting in the room. Relax, you're all set, no one will bully you anymore, Ye Kong said with a smile. You give the second wife. Xiao Hong covered her little Tangkao in surprise, and then she asked, will it be found out? Will something happen? Why are you so reckless that you won't kill? Is she? Not to kill? You think she's a good person? If I don't kill her, she will kill me, and I will slowly torture me to death, Ye Kong said, putting the spirit stone into the array. Xiao Hong nodded and nodded. She also believed that MRS2 was indeed this character. What shall I do? She asked again. Don't go back there. The second wife is hung up. The third wife is definitely going to be the head of the house and she will come over, and she won't give up. Ye Kong arranged the array and put the oil lamp on the bed on head. Although MRS second is not very good, in contrast, she is still good to Xiao Hong. She is now killed by Ye Kong. Xiao Hong has a mess in her heart. I don't know if she should be happy or sad. So what shall we do now? Xiao Hong asked uneasily again. Ye Kong smiled and crossed Xiao Hong's soft waist, and said, of course it's a good thing. It's yours. This time Xiao Hong flushed. What happened at this time? Rest assured, no one will follow up on this matter. Ye Kong haha laughed. I will start the retreat tomorrow. It will take me a long time to see you, let me be full. Necrotic. Huang Quan's ancestor also scolded, "Well, you show me to die once. Throw me into a black bag again. Something to cross the river." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 74. Chapter 73. The sun and moon are like shuttles, time flies. Half a year later, in a hurry, Yekong put a trace of aura into Ki, and slowly opened his eyes. There was a touch of joy in his eyes. A lot has happened in the past 6 months. First of all, the second wife's follow-up situation. Because the death of the second wife and Chen Xingfang was too shameful, neither the official nor Yefu went to investigate their real cause of death. Although they died a little strangely, they would not believe that the two were crazy at the same time, and the family members were unconscious. This is also a doubt, but no one cares about it. Sealing is more important. As soon as the second wife died, Ye Wei, who was in the barracks, ran back to deal with the aftermath. Ye Wei suggested that MRS3 manage the inner court and then wrote to Andu's Yeharan, waiting for his final arrangement. MRS3 is too big to hold the power, and the scenery is here in a flash. Every day, she looks radiant. Regardless of this, Xiao Hong has not suffered any trouble, and she has become a close-fit girl of Chen Juniang. Xiao Hong and Lu Qin get along with each other and have a happy life. Harmony. But MRS3 wasn't happy for a long time. After more than a month, Andu's letter came. What made MRS3 crazy was that Yehao let MRS9, just 25, manage the courtyard. To say that the young wife is the most favored, it can be seen that, in fact, Yeharan also has his ideas. MRS9 is the youngest. It is easier to give him a green hat, give her a little power, and cherish her current life. Finally, I want to talk about the second wife's son, Yewen Yewu. These two people are miserable. The old lady died so much that she lost her face, so no matter who came to power in the inner court, they would not have a good face for them. As for Yewu's ritual of rituals, no one has taken care of it. When he was 18, he was kicked out of the inner court, and he was not given money to buy a house. He stayed in the chaos of his brother Yewen's house. Day. Yekong is not clear about this at the moment. He has just completed half a year of isolation from the world. How? Have you reached the 3rd floor? Huang Quan's ancestors sent the first greeting in time. Here Yekong said with a smile. He was really happy. In just 3 years, he successfully entered the 3rd level of gas refining. Of course, his speed is not fast at all. Looking at the immortal realm, this speed is average, or even slow. You have to know that the simpler it gets, the more time it will take until later. Reaching the 3rd layer of gas refining in 3 years is nothing. You are embarrassed to talk to you at this speed. But the key problem is that Yekong's practice methods are different, they are particularly slow, and the time required for practice is particularly long. Therefore, he has been satisfied with the 3 layers of gas refining in 3 years. The credit of Huang Quan's ancestor is indispensable here. If it were not for his aura, Yekong would not have been able to practice such a fast aura in his own air. How much is my Reiki refining? Huang Quan's ancestor was not a pity of his own Reiki, but wanted to calculate his remaining Reiki enough to leave the air to rise a few levels. Half the refinement, exactly half. Yekong looked at the answer with an internal vision. Half. Only 1 level up, cried Huang Quan, surprised. At first, he thought that those auras would be refined together, which would be enough for Ye to rise to the 10th level of gas refinement. Later, he knew that his practice was really special and surprisingly slow, so he thought that he would at least rise to the 6th or 7th level of refining gas. However, it now seems that the 5 elements of the Ascension Sutra are indeed too much aura, only 1 layer after refining half. If the remaining half is refined, it is only refining 4. This gap is too big. How much aura does this kid need if he gets to build the foundation? Huang Quan's ancestors dare not think about it. Then you try to control this little sword weapon with exorcism, Huang Quan ancestor said again. Yakonki said, isn't that at least the 4th layer of gas refining in order to operate the magic weapon? Not necessarily. I think the main reason for manipulating the magical instruments is because of the size of the spiritual power and the power of the gods. You have gathered so many auras in your body. The spirit and the gods are naturally far beyond ordinary people. Maybe. Huang Quan's ancestors couldn't go on. Because he had seen a change in the sword weapon, he only heard a buzzing sound, and the sword had fluttered slowly. Get up, Yekong was also very surprised. He had heard that Lianqi could control the instrument, and he had been looking forward to this day. With the magic weapon, it means that he can walk the rivers and lakes. If you can manipulate the magic weapon, it means that his strength has increased greatly. Generally, the battle between immortal practitioners is a low-level immortal practitioner. The power of the spell is much weaker than the magic weapon, and the fireball and ice bomb are accurate. Sex is also very poor. There are many advantages to being able to control the magic weapon, because the magic weapon is not only an attack type, but also a defensive weapon, so Yekong's defense power can also be greatly increased. At the same time, various auxiliary instruments can also be used. For example, flying instruments, during the gas refining period, they cannot fly autonomously. The ascension technique is very spiritual, and it can't fly far, so you must use foreign objects. However, after speaking, Yekong now has no other instruments except Xiaojian, and those are all empty. With the improvement of his level, the Dragon Tiger Mountain Charm Encyclopedia in Lingtai has been opened a lot, and all the lower level spells have been shown to him. Those fireball spells and ice bomb spells are not worth mentioning. What made him tickle was the more powerful spells, especially the last few pages of the lower order. Giant Talisman, an auxiliary attack type spell, can make enemies within a certain range be suppressed by giant force, making the action slow. Ice Amulet can form a layer of ice type armor around the body, the effect is far superior to the Golden Amulet. Xing Fu, which affixes the sign to the lap, can double the speed and reduce tiredness. It is an indispensable good sign for going out and traveling at home, but not running away. Of course, the thing that leaves Yekong moving is the last one in the lower grade of the lower grade, the Thunder Fire Curse. You must know that among the various attributes, the most powerful is the extremely fierce Thunder attribute, which is caused by the variation of the Fire attribute and the Wood attribute. The power of the Thunder attribute is recognized. A fireball hits the opponent, far less than a lightning strike. On the other side, as for the ice bullets, water arrows, and quicksand, those powers are even worse. But Yekong can only look at it now. He just moved his heart. He didn't draw amulet paper. Now he has an amulet pen and a grass juice. The only thing missing is the amulet paper. Well, it would be great if a Xianxia Fang city is held in the southern capital. Yekong couldn't help sighing. Do you dream? Do you think that the southern capital is the city of the cultivator of immortals? Huang Quan cursed, grabbing the hanging small sword and saying, although this sword is a little garbage, it is also a medium quality weapon. If you don't want to demolish your own house and ruin your formation, find a quiet place to practice. Oh, alright. Yekong took the small sword, looking forward to it, wondering what function the sword had. Can you stand up and fly? Can it get bigger? Or what other powerful features? The old ancestor Huang Quan scolded, don't watch it, but it is a medium quality instrument. I think the old man was a superb magic weapon, an ancient treasure, and a high quality magic instrument. Cut, whoever sent me this thing, I smoked him face. Yekong sighed, he is a brave man, not to mention his bravery. I said, ancestor, Can you stop talking about your scenery history and romance history? I can hear calluses in my ears. I'm telling the truth and I didn't lie to you, Huang Quan murmured dissatisfied. Ye Kong said again, Father, you have to get into Xiaojian. I'm going out. Xiao Hong doesn't usually come to bother me. I come to push the door today and don't know anything important. I know that you will be a lover. I do nt want to go in as an ancestor? I have no regrets, and I really regret my ancestor. I didn't kill you at the beginning, so I am so annoyed. Although he was swearing badly, he raised his hand and took out a grey armor. This is... Ye Kong widened his eyes in surprise, then surprised, this is the defensive weapon made of Mo Yan skin. Yes, this is the hard work of the old man, said Huang Quan, dissatisfied. Is this, a magic weapon or a magic weapon? A magic weapon. After Ye Kong took it, he found that the toy was soft and light, similar to Goose Down. Dream. You can use magic weapon and magic weapon only after you have made Dan. This is a top quality magic weapon. How about it? It's not good. You can't do it. Do nt know what the old husband owed you in his life? His body shrank quickly. When he was about to enter the sword, he looked back at Ye Kong's excitement. He also smiled secretly, and then got into the sword. Don't go, let me wear it and see if it looks handsome. It's like thermal underwear, haha, I don't know if it fits well. When I grow up, will it grow automatically? Ye Kong was a series of questions again. The old ancestor Huan Quan scolded him again, research on my own. Don't bother me. My ancestor is going to sleep, please, don't call me without a beauty. Ye Kong responded with a loud voice, unbuttoned his jacket, put the most defense weapon on his body, and communicated with his spiritual knowledge. He found that he could not use it, but he still needed to refine it. Before any magic weapon is used, it must be refined. The main purpose is to let the treasure recognize the master, and then let the user be familiar with the function of the treasure. Generally speaking, the higher the level of the instrument, the longer the refining time. Of course, this is also related to the user's own spiritual strength. Finally, if it is stolen from someone else, it is the same as the previous one. The user's spiritual strength is related to the use time, which is a complicated matter. The armor of this inkwell is new, so there is no need to erase the original master's consciousness. Ye Kong only needs to refine it a little, and it should take a day or two to get it done. But Ye Kong didn't have time to refine, because he needed to go out, and Xiao Hong wanted to come outside today, and there might be something urgent. In fact, Ye Kong was preparing to meditate until Pi Gudan finished eating. Now that Xiao Hong has something to look for, he can only go out ahead of time. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 75. Chapter 74. I didn't disturb him, did he? He knocked on the door and came back. Xiao Hong's heart was always disturbed, and she was afraid to disturb Ye Kong's cultivation. It's been half a year, and there are 3 long and 2 shorts in it, we don't know. Alas, Chen Juniang was worried that her son was at home every day, but she couldn't meet, she couldn't help but remember. 3 longs and 2 shorts? Oh, godmother, see what you said. He is an immortal, and he is protected by matrix formations. No one can enter. How could it be dangerous? Lu Qin smiled and comforted. That's true. Tu Chen Juniang calmed down, nodded, and complained again. It wasn't good to practice for 5 days and rest for 1 day. I had to go in for half a year. Lu Qin smiled and asked curiously, little red sister, how did you react when you pushed the door just now? I see that your hand hasn't touched the door yet, so you shrink back. Xiao Hong said mysteriously, what kind of formation is really amazing? It's just outside the door, as if there is a layer of invisible things. Once this hand is put up, it is blocked. There will be a strong push out of my hand. Is it fun? I knew I was going to push it a moment ago. Luchin, 15 years old, still has many children. Oh, why didn't you push just now? Or go now, Xiaohong giggled. No, watch out for brother Yekong to get angry. Luchin stretched out Xiao Yan's tongue. In fact, she was also a bit afraid of Yekong. Although Yekong had never angered her, she had seen Yekong get angry at others. Terrible look. Coward Xiaohong couldn't help but whisper. Luchin laughed, also say me, you are more afraid, you knock on the door and see what you are worried about, haha. Dead Ziokan, see that I won't hit you. Xiaohong blushed and entangled with Luchin. The little girl was giggled by her and begged for mercy, but Xiaohong refused to spare, and her little hand penetrated into her armpit to tickle. Watching the two girls huddle together, Chen Juniang was also worried and laughed, and said, don't say you, even I have a little fear of him. That day, I let him kneel to Mrs. second, watch his eyes stare and talk to the tiger I like, huh. Why don't you give him something to try, Xiaohong said with a smile. Before Chen Juniang said anything, Luchin countered, be careful, he will give you a taste of family law first. Xiaohong was about to stop her hand, and Luchin said that her face suddenly appeared a touching red mist, and cursed, little Nazai, see if I don't scratch you, what do you say? Xiaohong and Luchin have a good relationship. In the past 6 months, they have been together every day. Some personal words have been secretly spoken. Little girl Luchin also knows a lot. She is holding her arms and learning Xiaohong's tenderness. The voice said, Master 8, please punish you. Xiaohong was ashamed to death, her face flushed with blood, and she caught up with Luchin again. Just when Yekong came in at this time, she saw Xiaohong and Luchin chasing jokes. The girls giggled, let alone touching, and Chen Juniang sat down and smiled. Yekong raised his realm, got the top quality defense weapon, and was in a good mood. He walked in with a smile and asked, who just said that Master 8 would be punished? As soon as Yekong came in, the two girls did not fight. Xiaohong snickered and pointed at Luchin. Xiaoqin said, she wants the punishment of Master 8. Xiaohong deliberately pulled the punishment very long, then giggled. In fact, the punishment in their mouths is not ordinary punishment, but the 8th master uses some bad thing to punish. The hidden meaning is very charming. Luchin is a girl. I'm learning Xiaohong's tone, and she is to blame. Luchin Xiao's face was also hot. The girl grew fast, but she hadn't seen it for half a year. Luchin was a lot taller. During this period, driven by the little girl Xiaohong in the early Jin dynasty, the little girl understood a lot and knew how to be ashamed. I feel more ashamed. Not to mention Xiaohong, she has become a real woman, her eyes are more exciting, her figure is more convex, her hands are full of charm. Yekong saw a movement in his heart, and laughed, you are not good, I will punish you both. Be beautiful, the two girls said in unison. Chen Juniang didn't understand the deep meaning of the word punishment. She wasn't good-hearted, they're all obedient, and the most disobedient is you. If you don't come out for 6 months, you will be punished if you are punished. Yeah, it's punishable. Yekong walked over with a smile and looked at the breakfast on the table and said, wow, you're all done, don't know if you'll leave me something. I know you're going to come out, and of course stay. Xiaohong quickly walked to the inner room and took out the warm snack cover in the straw buns. Brother Yekong, don't you have any elixir without meals? Luchin sat opposite, holding his chin with his hands, feeling very cute. That stuff is made from the fruit of the bran grain tree, and it can only be full. I can't help but taste these desserts. Yekong couldn't help pinching Xiao Lukin's face, and then squeezed a piece of Osman the soft cake into his mouth. Here, he chewed and said, it's delicious. I haven't eaten for half a year. This mouth has faded out of the bird. Yekong came to the Kangnan continent for more than 3 years, but the hooligan habits still can't be changed. he definitely does not walk in a straight line, and there is absolutely no swearing in his mouth. Fortunately, everyone is used to it. Seeing Yekong eating happily, Chen Juniang was also very happy, handed a glass of water, and said kindly, "Slow down, don't choke." Well, Yekong just solved it and stopped after trying a few pieces. "Eat more." "Ah, no, keep your belly to eat meat at noon." Yekong didn't eat it, one was because he was not hungry, and the other was staring at the eyes of the three women. I was really embarrassed. Yekong wiped his mouth and asked, "Okay, let's just tell me what the is going on. Is there something wrong?" That's it. Although Lu Qin was young, she had a clear idea and a complete narrative, so she said it. She was not in a hurry to say the purpose of calling Yekong out. She first introduced all aspects of Yefu's interior and exterior during the past 6 months. "I can't think of getting MRSER, and finally getting MRS9 cheaper." Yekong didn't expect Yeharan to put the youngest wife in power. In fact, all of these wives are a bit contradictory to Yekong, but the third wife later took the initiative to close the relationship. It should be said that the third wife was in power to Yekong's family. MRS9 is not very familiar, and it seems that she is not empty at all. She has never been here before, so this is bad news. But there is some good news. That's when Chen Qingfang died, and the court sent a new castle guard. This castle guard was still very kind. He was cheerful all day long, and he came to Yefu to discuss major things and small things. It felt like he was a child of the Ye family. The court made such a gesture of kindness because the barbarians were about to move, and the border would start war at any time. Her Majesty did not dare to open the Ye family at this time. It seems that the war is not good for the people, it is still good for the Ye family. The longer and fiercer the battle, the less likely the emperor will attack the Ye family. "I know everything," Yekong nodded, and said, "Talk about the troubles you are currently experiencing." "The thing is, because MRS9 is in power," Lu Qin went on to tell, "MRS3 was temporarily a family for a month, and she agreed that Xiaohong would go to our side and be a maid of the goddess. Later, MRS9 was in power. She did not ask about it, and it has been normal in recent months. But yesterday, MRS9 did not know why, and suddenly thought of Xiaohong, saying that Xiaohong was the wife of MRS2, she couldn't let her be so leisurely, she had to deal with it, and punished her to do the chores. The clean room is the sanitation house in the house. It is responsible for the environmental sanitation in the house. What sweeps the floor, wipes the doors and windows of the hall, and collects the garbage in each house. Anyway, it is very dirty and shameful. Sun Fairy Ban Ban, let Lao Tzu's woman sweep the street." Yekong frowned, and asked, "Why don't you tell her you have been accepted as my servant? Generally speaking, the servants do not need to do chores. Women who have been spoiled by the master have a much higher status than ordinary girls, and do not need to participate in labor. Some may even have a separate courtyard." "The master here," said Yeharan. The girl-in-law who had been done by the masters in the room did not have this treatment. If they were spread, they would be punished. However, Yekong is not an ordinary master. He is not afraid of those. "Who dares to punish Lao Tzu? You try it." Yeharan is not at home. Yekong has taken himself as the master. Even if Yeharan comes back, he is not afraid. "Why can you play? Lao Tzu can't play, you play so much, I only need one." Yekong's meaning, it is estimated that MRS9 did not understand the situation, so Xiaohong went to inform MRS9 and said that it was already the 8th master's servant. "You have arranged to talk to the 8th master." But then, Xiaohong's remarks made Yekong Huo furious. The 9 wives weren't clear about the situation, but came towards themselves. Xiaohong said, "Slave didn't say he was the 8th master's servant. Slaves thought to myself that I'm not a person who hasn't endured hardships, so I can do my best and do some chores. I can do it." I don't need to disturb you, but who knows? Lucine interface, angrily, who knows that the housekeeper is the horse sister who was beaten by Yekong's brother. As soon as Sister Xiaohong goes, she arranges Sister Hong to go to each room to pour the night fragrance. Pour the night incense. Yekong was so angry that he shot the case violently. Her mother. I let her eat the night incense. Pour the night incense, this is a nice official word, in fact, it is the toilet. The 9 ladies appointed Ma as the steward, and Ma let Xiaohong go to pour the toilet, which made it clear that revenge leaves empty. To the reader. Thanks for watching the new work Xianxia Mania. Yekong will soon go out and travel, and the chances of guest appearances have also greatly increased. Q. Who wants to enter the drama? I said that it's not convenient to comment. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 76. Chapter 75, God of Plague. The weather is a bit cold, and the hands and feet standing outside the house quickly become cold and dry. People walking outside wear big bloated robes. Those girls who want to look good are not good. As for the boys, they are all covered with a bitch. This is the winter of Kangnan continent, the coldest time in winter. However, it is strange that the Kangnan continent does not snow. It may be due to the south. There are also people who have traveled far away, saying that there will be snow in the north, and those who have seen snowflakes can be regarded as knowledgeable people. Although it didn't snow, the outside shrank coldly and dripped into ice. Unlike the outside, MRS9's room had a fire in it. The furnace in Zijan burned fiery red, the shape of the furnace was also beautiful, and there was an empty blue dragon on the outside. I heard this was Her Majesty's royal gift. The furnace burns a kind of fire carbon made of special wood collected from the edge of the floodplain. It is resistant to burning, smokeless, and does not have the white ash raised by ordinary wood. This kind of special heating coal for winter comes from the dangerous floodplain. Within this, it can be said that it is expensive and not something that ordinary people can use. Because of this large furnace, the house is naturally warm as spring, and MRS9 sat comfortably. She was just 25 years old, and it was the season of youth and beauty. She married at 16 when she was the youngest grandma. Harem was naturally very happy, especially she had a smart son who was also very much loved by the master. At a young age, she became the master of the backyard of Yefu. MRS9 should be in a good mood, but today, she is a little worried. For unexplained worries, she wrinkled her beautiful eyebrows, slender white fingers turned around the mouth of the tea bowl, thinking about why she was uneasy. MRS9, why do you have to let Xiaohong go to clean the room, alas? Butler Yesai experienced several hostesses. However, it is normal to think about it. This old guy is still more dedicated and cautious. With the wind and grass moving, he will change the mountain in time. Just like Yekong Gang got the power, he was the first to return the silver that has been greeted with Chenjuniang for many years. Upon hearing the words of the old housekeeper, MRS9 understood immediately why the restlessness was because of the eighth master, Yekong. Why? MRS Ben has a girl to look at who can't look up? Does this little matter require me to repair a book for the master to decide? The owner of this inner court is just a display. 3 questions were asked one after another, expressing the anger and annoyance in MRS9's heart. She looked very fierce and full of fighting spirit. But she knew that she was angry with the old housekeeper because she was so afraid. MRS9, don't you not know, Xiaohong and Master 8. Yesai did not stop because of MRS9's anger. He continued to tell the terrible place in this incident. Yesai is not afraid of MRS9. This woman doesn't look young and beautiful, but she is very hot. She doesn't give Yewu a penny to drive out of the house, which shows that she is fierce. However, Yesai is more afraid of Yekong. If MRS9 is fierce, Yekong is poisonous. MRS9 is a poisonous scorpion, Yekong is a poisonous snake, a plague. Anyway, compared with Yekong, the power of MRS9 is fundamental. Not enough to watch. Xianxia resisted the anger and persuaded that his purpose naturally did not want anything to happen in the backyard of Yefu, but more importantly, it was also for himself. In the future, if the plague asks him, he can also say that he has persuaded it with all his strength. I really can't control this matter. If you want to plague, don't plague me. Hearing that Xianxia didn't even shut up, MRS9 swung her sleeves sharply, sweeping the tea bowl on the table to the ground, making an amazing smash. How about Master 8? Others are afraid of him, I'm not afraid. Even if he comes to the door, I have to ask him if I have the right to arrange a girl. Huh. If he can hit me, I can arrange his girl. The roar of MRS9 was not only directed at Xianxia, but also at herself. She was talking to herself in her heart. What was she afraid of? Does he dare hit me? Besides, I have reason for this. He didn't care about him for personal communication. I just arranged for the ant to do some chores, and it makes sense everywhere. At the same time, there was a voice in my heart, one by one, you bullied me young, Yang Fengjian is not it? I'll show you that God of Plague will also eat my puppet, so that my wife of 9 will be stable in Yefu's inner courtyard, and it will be natural for her to be promoted to be the first lady to fill the house. It turned out that MRS9 aimed at Yekong, not only for revenge, but also for the purpose of killing chickens and tamarinds, killing 100, establishing prestige. Well, the method was good, but she chose the wrong object. Minister Cai Choi sighed. He knew MRS9's thoughts, but could you kill Yekong? Yekong is a dog face. If you touch his hair, you can say everything. You want to go against him. Can he make you feel good? But loyalty to his heirs, Xianxia knew that it would be useless to say it anyway. Anyway, he had already achieved the purpose of clarification, so let's go quickly. Don't be met by the plague god. MRS9, then the old slave retired when I was outside the courtyard. Xianxia made a puppet, put on a cotton robe, pushed open the door and hurried away. Who knew that as soon as he opened the door, his whole body looked like an electric shock? No. It's all bad luck, really afraid of what comes. When I opened the door, I saw Yekong dangling, and he didn't know what toothpick was still in his mouth. He looked east and west, and walked over with anger. Xianxia closed the door like a reflection, but then he opened the door again, and then walked out recklessly without telling MRS2. He's not stupid. If he can't avoid it, go up and set himself apart. Although Xianxia moved quickly, MRS9's eyes fell on him. Looking at his movements, he also guessed who he saw. MRS9 patted the table again and whispered, God of Plague, I'll see how powerful you are. The plague is now notorious, and the little girl who was picking up the tea bowl fragments in front of MRS9, heard that the word plague was also shaking her hands, almost cut her fingers, and said her heart. Stay away, don't slap yourself inexplicably. Master 8, why do you always wear this on such a cold day? How can your golden branch and jade leaves be frozen and quickly wear warm old robes? Xianxia rushed up with a smile on his face, regardless of it was cold, took off his robes, and shoved Yekong. Yekong is funny, this Kangnan continent is really a strong one. You are polite to others, useless. People are your fools, so bullying. If you hit him, he will treat you like your ancestor. But if the Kangnan continent is like this, why isn't the earth like this? It's just that the Kangnan continent is more obvious. Well, I'm not cold. You look like you 7 or 80, like you. Ye gave him a blank look, and pushed the robe back. Hey, old slave, how can you compare with Master 8? In such a cold day, Master 8 is not afraid of cold at all, it is a master. It is a master of the world, Yesai smiled shamelessly. Come less of this. Yekong looked at him with all his spare time, and saw Yesai's anxiety, and then Yekong said, is it Xiaoman's idea to brush the toilet? Miserable. Sure enough, he was so skeptical. Yesai was frightened, his legs and knees couldn't help but soften. He knelt down and knelt down. He said, Master, the old man didn't dare to come up with such an idea. It was all the idea of MRS9, the eighth master Ming Cha. The old slave came to MRS9 today to try to persuade her to regain her fame, but she never stopped. The old slave said, Xiao Hong is a man of plague, can you also move? She said, others are afraid of plague. Got it? The old man was in a hurry, and he couldn't say anything. The of plague came out, only to find it the second time, now it was dead. Yesai's face turned pale and he didn't know what to say. Yekong also heard this title for the first time, his eyes glared, God of plague. This is. Yesai didn't know where to start. He thought that this old bone would be accounted for today. I didn't expect that. Yekong laughed, God of plague? Say me? Whose name is this, who am I to plague you? Yekong smiled, Yesai calmed down, and quickly explained, actually, this is not from the people in our government who have grown up for you. It came from the battalion of Xianxia. Everyone thinks this name is quite. Is it right? Yekong waved his hands and said, get up, since the master who you did not kill you, the plague will plague the god, is MRS9 in it. Here, the slave will show you the way. A few steps away, I arrived in a blink of an eye. As soon as I pushed the door, I saw MRS9 was sitting on a large chair in the middle of the hall, holding a snow-white Persian cat in her arms. MRS9's eyes were closed, but the cat stared at the pair of half-red and half-green eyes. MRS9, Master 8 is here. Yesai went up to Tong Tong, but MRS9 did not respond at all, and fell asleep. I was so angry just now that I fell asleep in the blink of an eye. Yesai knew that MRS9 was intentional, but he did not dare to offend this, so he did not dare to call again, so he had to say to Yekong, Master 8, MRS9 has been tired for a long time and has fallen asleep. You have to wait later. Dutch, MRS9, is this going to give Lao Tzu some power? Yekong looked at MRS9, and snorted disdainfully. Since MRS9 is asleep, Uncle Cai, don't quarrel with MRS9, and let her sleep for a while. Yesai feels that his brain is not enough. This is not the style of Master 8. He should yell and wake you up when he sleeps. When did he become so good at talking? Then he heard Yekong say again, take all your maids out, lightly, don't wake up MRS9. Oh Yesai answered, and felt more and more wrong in her heart. She just wanted to greet the girl and suddenly thought of something wrong. Master 8, let's go out, are you old? Yekong stared back, of course I'm waiting for MRS9 to wake up here. Ah, Yekei was dumbfounded, thinking to himself, why did this plague tell us to go out? Is it? Oh my god, these 9 wives are really troublesome. These 8 masters can do anything. Although MRS9 closed her eyes, she was still flustered. When this boy came, he drove away my men. What was he trying to do? Lonely man and widow, is there any bad idea he can't think of? MRS9 thought about it. Forget it, let's wake up by yourself. Don't let this kid get the bargain. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 77. Chapter 76, Slapped. As soon as MRS9 opened her eyes, she saw that the 2 girls had come to the door, and she was so angry that my master had not spoken yet. So you want to leave me and escape? K'er. "Where are you going?" said MRS9 murmurly. The two girls heard MRS9 speak, and immediately stopped, and said that she was offended and did not slip away, but offended the wife. MRS9's tone was extremely bad, and the voice of Yin was terrifying. The two girls were afraid of MRS9's punishment, and hurriedly explained, "MRS9, it is Master 8 who let the slaves out, and the slaves dare not follow." "Well, is that right? Master 8 asked you to kill me, and didn't dare to disobey, didn't you?" MRS9 ironically. The two maids were at a loss, and then she squinted at Yekong and ordered, "Come back." Yes, the two girls just wanted to go in, but Yekong sang again in his ears. "Go out." The two girls looked at Yekong and stopped. Depressed in the heart, can't hide from the bad luck. How can somehow become the focus of their struggle, and it's easy to be a girl. One let's go back, one let's go out, which one do you listen to? Come back. MRS9 hesitated to see the girl-in-law, so she increased her voice. Go out, the words uttered by Yekong were more deterrent. Come back. Go out. The two maidservants stood still and did not dare to move forward in one step, but instead involuntarily backed away. It seems that the name of the plague is indeed deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. Afraid he is not afraid of me? MRS9 was so angry that she dropped the kitten, stood up, pointed at Yekong, and shouted, "Yekong! What do you want to do?" As soon as MRS9 drank, the two of them even officially met. "What do I want to do?" Yekong Kenken smiled, in a provocative tone. "Want to talk to you alone, why? Dare. Aren't you afraid of the gods of plague, forcing the girl to let them go? You are timid, are you there? Talking alone? What to talk about?" MRS9 is really a little scared. There is a girl-in-law and a housekeeper. He doesn't dare to mess around, otherwise he will do something to himself, and that's why he wants to cry without tears. "We don't need to talk alone, there is something to say in front of you. Yes, you don't have to leave, just listen to it." MRS9 stood tall with a tall breast. "Haha, you're still scared," Yekong couldn't help but laugh. "Are you afraid I want to fight with me? Today must kill you, arrogance." He fixed his eyes firmly on MRS9, and then slowly said, "Afraid I hit you? Or, afraid of my daughter, shielded, I had to hit you separately?" As soon as this word came out, everyone shook his chin. The 8 masters were so powerful that they could say anything. The two maidservants had no faces, and when they heard the word woman, their faces turned red. MRS9 is really afraid of being taken advantage of by him, but it's good to know these words, but it's impossible to say, "But I didn't expect this boy to be so straightforward, so indecent, and very relaxed. It seems that it is not important. My elder is your elder, how can you say such things in public?" MRS9 was ashamed and angry, her face flushed, and she pointed at Yekong. She didn't know what she was scolding for a while, but she didn't think she was exaggerating. Generally, a drunk person never thinks that he has said drunk words, the same is true of the cattle. When he speaks again, he doesn't feel cattle at all. Even if everyone else is defocused, he still cares. Yekong continued to wave his hands again, indifferently saying, "Don't be excited, I'm a rogue and rogue, speak directly, don't be surprised." "But MRS9, you don't need to worry about these, although you look beautiful and the milk is not small," Yekong said, taking a step forward, looking at the Shuangdingshan bag tightly wrapped in a satin shirt with an unacceptable eye. MRS Ju's face turned redder, and she glared at Yekong with her teeth. "Boy, look at me like this, and if you say such indecent things, I will definitely tell ya Harem." Although Yekong's gaze was wretched, she had a powerful power. MRS9 felt that a mountain was crooked in front of her, but she couldn't resist it. "But, I'm not interested in you," Yekong said after watching for a while, and when his eyes closed, MRS9 felt relieved. Yekong. You're too much. You treat the elders like a beast. MRS9 was not a fuel-saving lamp, and she wanted to give Yekong a slap. You're better than a beast. Yekong easily grabbed her hand and sneered. Your heart is as narrow as a hen, with a small belly and a chicken belly. As soon as you come to power, you are busy reporting a little bit of resentment a few years ago, you dare not face to face. But playing those plots and tricks that are not on the table is no different from the femme fatale in the dark corners of summer. How similar is your roar and roar, just like a she-wolf with rabies. Huh, I'm afraid I'll make you, rest assured, you such a woman, even if she unbuttons her pants and bangs on a fart like a sow, and puts X in front of me, I will have no response. Yekong's remarks are so regrettable that they have seriously exceeded the imagination of human beings. Not only is there a metaphor for an image, but the vulgar slang and dirty words mixed in it have made everyone in the room open their mouths. 8. Master 8. Xianxia has already begun talking. All 8 masters beat people badly. The original curse was not inferior. MRSG was called a standard beast or a hybrid beast. The more he scolded and the more he shouted, Xianxia felt that he should pull the rack. You're always saying this, aren't you, too much? After that, if you let your wife brush the toilet in such a cold day, you won't say nice words. MRS9 finally found a chance to speak, and exclaimed with a sharp voice, someone should brush it. You don't want to do it? Who do you want to do it? MRS been arranged wrong? A girl, why don't I do it? Joke, your wife? Is there a clear media? I'm sorry to say it, I feel shame for your mother. After MRS9 scolded Yekong, she scolded Xiaohong again. The face of that hoof. She still sells her deeds in Yefu, and I killed her. I'm going to your mother, Yekong Han shot angrily, and a big slap slaps the blood of MRS9's mouth. Want to avenge Laozi? Xianxia, you all go out. Get out. With this roar of Yekong, Xianxia didn't dare to stay anymore. He didn't want to be beaten. Besides, the 9 wives really didn't know how to stand up. Would you be polite when you talk? Master 8, you are old. Xianxia didn't know how to say it. He couldn't say, you can fight it, just don't kill it. The 2 girls were so frightened that their legs softened, followed Xianxia, and trot away, leaving only Yekong and MRS9 in the house. MRS9 looked at Yekong with anger. She covered her face, her eyes full of resentment. Dare you hit me? Hit me. I want to tell the master to let him punish you. Drive your family out of Yefu. Let you fill the army, go to jail, behead your head. MRS9 was also beaten by the slap. Come up. Don't make a noise, I can't help it, I pinched you for a minute, Yekong snorted. Everyone else was gone. MRS9 thought that the boy really wanted to beat him, but found that he did not continue to hit people, but suddenly asked, have you ever thought about where you are in the inner court? Of. The thinking of the sentence was too great. MRS9 froze for a moment and looked at Yekong inexplicably. I asked you where this position came from. This chair under your. Yekong patted the big chair behind MRS9 and asked, do you know how you got there? My second wife is dead, and the master will let me. MRS9 suddenly thought of something, her legs softened, and she fell down on the chair in a loss. Why did MRS2 die, do you know? Yekong said coldly, while leaning over, close to MRS9's face. His smile was awkward. You are sitting on this chair now, but you don't know how to thank. Not only do I not thank my benevolence, but I have to show my revenge. Must you follow the second wife's footsteps? Yekong's words were already very clear, and MRS9 thought of it again. The night when MRS2 died, it was this guy who beat her 2 sons during the day. Couldn't MRS2 really be him? Thinking of this, MRS9 could not help but take a nap, Oh my god. He did it? No trace of killing. Seeing MRS9's embarrassing appearance, Yekong knew that the purpose was basically answered, stood straight, dropped a sentence, and turned away. A lot of troubles are found by myself, I only give you one chance, don't challenge my temper again, think about your son. Yekong told her clearly that she wasn't afraid that she would say it, anyway, she could already use the magic weapon, even if Harem came back, what could I do? Yekong walked for a while, and MRS9 was in a daze, as if she had lost her soul. After a while, she looked up anxiously and said, take 22 silver to Sister Ma so that she won't come again. At this moment, MRS9 has considered it very clearly. This of plague can really do anything. If she dies, her son will be like Yewu, or even worse, she is afraid, and never will dare to fight Yekong. Yes, Cai, who had returned, sighed in his heart. Why did you know today? I advise you to keep on, you have to be beaten before you remember things, this person is just cheap. MRS9 thought of Sister Ma and wanted to let Sister Ma go. Do not irritate Yekong, but she was too late to remember. On the way back to Yekong, she happened to meet Sister Ma. When this woman saw Yekong, she was fleeing furiously. The last time she was beaten, she was snoring and limping. Yekong has been fed up with this woman's repeated provocations. Of course, she will not make her happy, and she will be beaten again. She will only be able to live in a wheelchair in the future. Is this the case? Huan Quan's ancestor woke up again without knowing what. While MRS9 hated me, after all, she didn't want to kill me, and I didn't need to kill her, Yekong replied. Well, what's the point with them, just kill them. Yekong laughed, you come less, what do you think in my heart when I don't know? You just imagine that killing the second wife last time will make you addicted before killing. Please, don't you be so savvy, okay, Huan Quan's ancestor was said to be centrally thinking, and he smiled. Last time, the second wife was old. The ninth wife was only in her 20s. Wow, that wave, it was really turbulent yet. Yekong patted the small sword on his waist and laughed, relax, when you are cool, take you to Zhangchunlu after lunch. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 78. Chapter 77. Talented. Did it really work out? Yekong returned to his small courtyard. The old lady and the two girls were waiting. Xiaohong couldn't wait to ask, and was afraid that Yekong thought she was lazy and didn't go, and said, if it doesn't work, I'll pour yes yang. Of course it was solved. Master Ben went out on his own. What else can't be solved? Don't worry about it, Master 8's servant-in-law is going to brush the toilet. If you want to go, I can't let you go. Yekong smiled and stunned little red soft waist. When Yekong came out this time, he did not cover up. He generously acknowledged Xiaohong's relationship with himself, which made Xiaohong very happy. He dropped his eyes on Yekong with hazy eyes, and that look could see people. Xiaohong is petting, Lu Qin's heart is not taste, she is not jealous, but she just feels that she is getting a little tenderness. She knows that Xiaohong is petting because Xiaohong takes the initiative, but she can make Lu Qin take the initiative. Out. Chen Juniang had already seen the relationship between Yekong and Xiaohong. Although Xiaohong was 2 years old, she was a little embarrassed, but for the past 6 months, Xiaohong was also pretty good, and both of them had cooked rice with cooked rice and cooked rice. The rice dumplings are over, so Chen Juniang also defaults. To the intimacy of the two, Chen Juniang turned a blind eye, and she was worried. It's funny, she doesn't worry about her son, but about others. Experience has shown that Yekong can't do anything. Chen Juniang is worried about Mrsju. After all, his son's solution to the problem was too direct and violent. Those opponents who embarrassed him were either killed or injured. She was a little worried that MRS9 was also hit by her son. Didn't you take MRS9? The most favorite of the general is MRS9 and you. If she has a good friend, the general will come back. How can I explain? Chen Juniang asked. How's it going? She's okay, she's alive. Ye Kong hesitated. Oh, generally speaking, my mother still believed her son's words. As soon as Ye Kong said, Chen Juniang also believed. But Lu Qin wasn't so confused. He swiped his mouth, looked up at the sky, and said to himself, it's strange, MRS9's new official took 3 fires, and it's burning. It's just an understatement. It's really incredible. Dead girl, no one treats you dumb without talking. Ye Kong stared at the little girl hard and found that Lu Qin was smiling proudly like a little fox. Sure enough, Chen Juniang was also skeptical, frowning. Empty child, what's the situation? Mother must listen to the truth. To tell the truth, don't you worry about death? So MRS9 scolded the dog's blood, plus she slapped her, all of which could not be said. That's the truth, Ye Kong said innocently. I didn't lie. In fact, MRS9 is still very good at speaking. After I passed, I told her the truth and reasoned. She showed her difficulties and I also revealed after my point of view. All of us exchanged opinions without reservation. In short, the dialogue was conducted in a warm and friendly atmosphere. Everyone adhering to the principle of rather harming the body than friendship, respected each other and cooperated with each other. After countless rounds of the confrontation, and finally, a successful agreement, our two sides are very satisfied with the conditions and results of the parties. Oh, everyone is satisfied. Don't hit people at every turn. Even the people in the Kangnan continent do not like to listen to this kind of rhetoric. Chen Juniang heard the black lines and didn't know what he was telling. Was gone, it is estimated to go to those families Dingyi to inquire, can get some truth from other populations. Chen Juniang left, and Lu Qin's little girl spit out her tongue and made a grimace. Cheat. Hello. You can doubt my words, but don't doubt my character. Ye Kong was a little irritated. Lu Qin was still a little afraid of this guy. When he saw that he was anxious, he let him stop talking, and when he looked at Xiaohong again, he found that Xiaohong's face was strange. I saw Xiaohong's tender white cheeks fluttering and twitching, as if she wanted to say something, looked at Lu Qin, and couldn't say. Lu Qin thought they had any secret words, and he thought he was in trouble, so he said, Brother Ye Kong, Xiaohong's sister, you talk, I'll accompany the wife. No, Xiaohong knew that Lu Qin had misunderstood. In fact, she didn't say anything secret to Ye Kong, but it was inappropriate for some children, so she couldn't tell. Seeing that Lu Qin was a little unhappy, Xiaohong quickly held her, and blushed, and said, Xiao Qin, there is nothing to hide from you, but it's nothing. I think Master 8's words just now, there is something in it. Which phrase? Lu Qingkai said. Ye Kong looked at Xiaohong curiously. As he said just now, when he goes, he will tell the truth and then the words behind him. Ye Kong thought about it and said, what's behind? It's a normal phrase. Where is there something in it? What did you hear? Tell me. Xiaohong's face was even redder, and she couldn't tell what she was talking about, which made Lu Qin more anxious and urged, little sister, you say it fast. Yeah, you don't have to talk about it. Hurry up. Ye Kong was also very curious. I was speaking normally. What kind of expression do you think? It seems that I said something about the 18 prohibitions just now. Xiaohong was rushed and had to say, he said just now, after I went, I put the facts and reasoned, and then, MRS9 showed somewhere in her body, and I also revealed some of my point, our clothes are all reserved. In short, the matter was carried out in a warm and friendly atmosphere, because it hurt MRS9's body, but did not hurt friendship, and then helped each other to cooperate with each other. After countless rounds of confrontation, finally, the successful unanimity reached Gao Chao, and they felt satisfied with each other. You, really talented. This imagination is too rich. Ye Kong, who barely fainted, felt that he had nothing to say. With this little red, Xiao Hong could think so far. It is indeed admirable, talents and talents. Xiao Hong said something special, as if Ye Kong really meant it. Now Lu Qin is not half a year ago. She already understood Xiao Hong's meaning. She didn't care about shyness, and said angrily, "Brother Ye Kong, how can you do that? Mrs9 is an elder, how can you do this with her?" Thing. In her opinion, it doesn't matter if the man has 3 wives and 4 concubines, but you are disgusting when you mess up. Mrs9 is Ye Hairan's person. If there is a relationship with Ye Kong, what's wrong? I didn't. Ye Kong was grieved. Lao Tzu said something casually, but caused such trouble, it was really terrible. Holding hands with a girl, you listen to me and tell you the process. Go to my house, I speak slowly. Back in Ye Kong's room, he told the story after 1510, from entry to exit, the word fell. Lu Qin was assured that brother Ye Kong hadn't done anything. Thinking of Zhang Chun Tower, Ye Kong couldn't help but ask, "Ziokin, I seem to have heard you say in the morning that the drama Dragon Tiger Brotherhood planned by our Dragon Tiger gang has been staged in Zhang Chun Tower." Kind. Lu Qin watched them flirting. "You Lenin," she was a little lost in heart, listened to Ye Kong's question immediately excited. "Brother Ye Kong, don't you know? The hottest thing in Nandu City recently is this show, people who queue up to buy tickets every day at the gate of Zhang Chun Tower." Seeing Lu Qin's excitement, Ye Kong knew that it was a success, or an unprecedented success. The Kangnan continent originally lacked entertainment programs, and the only ones were several old dramas praising the generals of the emperor. The people have long been bored. At this time, planned by Ye Kongju, the Lu family brothers acted as producers, well-known scholars wrote lyrics, and Long Hu helped the brothers to play. This drama that reflects the mixed life was born. This birth immediately caused a sensation. How can those people have seen this? Among them are not only exciting friendships, but also love, and more thrilling martial arts. They are elements not found in traditional operas. 4 months ago, the premiere of Zhang Chunlu began, and it is still full. Many people come here, many people watch it enough, and watch it again and again, every time. Tears burst into tears. According to Ye Kong's suggestion, the Brotherhood of Dragon Tigers is a series of dramas. The first episode is called Brother Brother Tiger. In fact, the storyline is very cliché. It is nothing more than the brothers in the rivers and lakes. When they encountered unscrupulous arrest, the elder brother was killed, and the brother refused to be rich, and ended up with the bad guys. That is, the story of the dog blood in Hong Kong movies on the earth in the 1990s. If the earth is going to be scolded by people, the Kangnan continent is different. The citizens of the southern metropolis are watching novelty, and the protagonist is no longer it is the emperor's prime minister, not the scholar's talent, but the gangsters and rogues around them. The plot has been tortuous for them, and the martial arts in it are all real kung fu. Live PK. As soon as various elements were added, the people saw novelty and enjoyment, and the play became popular. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 79. Chapter 78. Celebrities. The show became popular, and the Dragon Tiger Gang became popular. The people originally hated these places, but because of this drama, the impression in everyone's heart has changed, and the places have become heroes of morality. In the case of restaurants, in the past, the rogues were scolded and ransomed without giving money, but now, as long as they are helped by the tigers, those bosses enthusiastically pull the fans to eat freely. Also, if Long Hu wanted to invite a master to join, it was very difficult. The masters wanted to go to the martial arts champion or the government barracks. At least they had to go to the darts as a martial artist. How about mixing with the rogue on the street every day? But this play is different. Those martial arts are actively involved in the door to join the gang, a little bit inferior, and will not accept. The power of role models is endless. Even the dragon and tiger brothers are different. In the past, there was a lot of contradictions in the internal battle for the site, but now they are talking about brothers and loyalty. There was even less harassment of the people. All of them felt like they were heroes, and then they went to eat overlord meals. They couldn't afford to lose that person. These are all Yekong is happy to see. He doesn't care about making more money or collecting a few younger brothers. What he cares about is that he can finally change some people through his own efforts. Who says that the Kangnan continent is a world where people eat? Who says there is only strength here and nothing else? Who says the humanity here is only cold-blooded and cruel? Facts have proven that humans and animals are different, and there are also beautiful things like justice, friendship, blood, respect, and so on, which are in everyone's heart. No matter how dark it is, people yearn for light. This will always be the case. Yekong is not so great and not so arrogant. He wants to turn the Kangnan continent into heaven, but at least he hopes that everyone around him can enjoy these, and he has succeeded. Brother Yekong, you're really good at it. My brother started to think that the storytelling of ancient dramas has been so ancient, and now they all admire death. Lu Qin looked particularly pretty when talking, and her thin lips spoke quickly. After smiling a little beauty mole under his lips seemed to be smiling. What a big deal this skill is. This is the first episode, and there will be a second episode and a third episode in the future, a series of serials, so you can't finish it, Yekong said with a smile. Really, there is a second episode? Brother Yekong, I also admire death. Lu Qin grew up with his brother Lu Suan. He naturally felt the drama very deeply, so I was happy to hear that there are new episodes jumped up. Slave also admires Master 8. Kneeling Xiaohong also looked up. Yekong said, after speaking for a long time, I have never seen this master plan. It was tickled in your heart. In the afternoon, I went to Zhangchunlu to watch a show. Who are you going to? Lu Qin laughed. Of course we all went. Now the Tibetan Spring House has been rebuilt, and the downstairs has been converted into a special theater. Entering through the newly opened door, it doesn't matter if the guest is male or female. Yekong nodded secretly. It seems that the theater business is really good, otherwise Feng Xiniang would not be willing to use the first floor as a theater. Another explanation is that Feng Xiniang is still very good at business, knows how to be flexible, and opens a separate door to the theater garden, so that she can attract those female audiences to go and open the way for money. Is there a box in the Tibetan Spring House? I want to take my mother to it. She must also like to watch a show, Yekong asked again. Although the Tibetan Chunlu opened the door for the opera garden, after all, Chen Juniang was an aunt of Yefu. If it was passed out, Yeharan's wife and concubine went to the Tibetan Chunlu, and this reputation would be awful. There is another reason. Isn't there a big scar on Chen Juniang's face? If you go out, it will inevitably make people look at him. Even if Yekong is a cow, he can't stop others from casting strange eyes. It would be convenient if there was a private box. At the same time, Yekong also looked forward to looking for Chen Juniang's medicine for face treatment. He could already use the magic weapon. It is Yekong's long-cherished wish that the old lady can stand upright in front of people. He believes that this day is not far away. Of course there is a box. On the second floor, the last time I went with my brother, they were in the box on the second floor, Lu Qin said. That's fine. You can take your mother this afternoon, too. Giggle. Lu Qin asked, little red sister, haven't you seen the Dragon Tiger Brotherhood? Have you gone together this afternoon? Of course, Xiaohong responded, Of course I'm going. I haven't seen it yet. Every day I listen to the pheasants, banana skins, and four eyes of those family members. I don't know what's going on. Listen, don't understand. Then you're out of date, pheasants and banana skins, that's the protagonist number 1 and number 2, the four eyes are the bad guy catching fast, who now doesn't know the southern capital, Lucine said with a smile, but the nicknames are very strange. You said that those nicknames are called nicknames, such as Xiaobao, Daqiang, you never know that there are such strange nicknames. Yeah, I just don't understand. If it's a river or a lake character, then it should be a very loud title, such as a sword and a throat, a knife and a mountain, etc. Oh, who is called pheasant, banana skin. The pheasant's skin is easy to understand, but those four eyes, I haven't understood it yet, Lucine thought. Haha, you don't understand. Four eyes means that his eyes are not good, the four eyes are not as good as the other's eyes, Yekong laughed. Four eyes are inferior to two eyes. What's the explanation? Why is it not called six eyes and eight eyes? Why is it called four eyes? Lucine asked inexplicably. Can't I tell you, glasses? Yekong was depressed. In short, four eyes means that the eyes are bad, and four eyes pheasant is a curse, and eyes are not good. Oh! Lucine suddenly realized, and then laughed. I said that these names are so strange, you originally got them. Isn't it? Yekong had a very weird expression, and then laughed. Smart girl, in fact, I just said a few casually at that time, your brother is too lazy to change it. At this time, I heard Lucine said, Brother Yekong, don't you know, these people are now red, and the heroine King Mei, now the appearance fee is 12 silver, as long as they go out every day, there are many admirers chasing them, asking for autographs and gifts. Xiao Hong was still alive and didn't forget to interject, let's go to the theater to see the theater, and give gifts? These people are really boring. Yekong patted Xiao Hong's hair and laughed, this is a fan, no matter what era, there will always be stars, and there will be no star chaser without stars. You do know, some star chaser can chase madness, do irrational behavior. Lucine seemed to understand, and nodded. Brother Yekong said that is reasonable, those people are really crazy. I heard that many star chasers rushed for half a month from Huangzhou County, hundreds of miles away. A glimpse of the pheasant. It is also rumored that several female chasing stars were eaten by winged tigers on the road, and they went to the southern capital after suffering so much to see the pheasant. These fans are too hardcore, it's an iron pot. Then I am also a celebrity in the southern capital, why is there no star chaser? Yekong was unhappy. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 80. Chapter 79. Lucine chuckled, you are not a celebrity now, and you haven't appeared for more than half a year, and no one will talk about you. Now the focus of the people in the southern capital is the pheasant skin, 100 miles out of the city, a roadside tea shop. They talk. Wow, so famous, Yekong asked sourly, is the pheasant handsome? Yeah, the two girls giggled together, and then laughed again, but Master Ye Family 8 is even more handsome. It's almost the same. Yekong Gli was satisfied. Not good. Forget this number, Yekong Gli yelled, cursing at Huang Quan's ancestors, hey, dead man. Do you see that? Cut, what's so good about it, you're the ancestor, I'm the rabbit grandfather? It's not Xiao Hong, who look at you, so young, Huang Quan ancestor scolded disdainfully. Little is more than you. Brother Yekong, what are you doing? Little red sister, why are you still kneeling? Lucine blinked. No, it's okay, I'll give him a shot. Xiao Hong quickly stood up with a blush. Then you blush so much. I hit him, and he kicked me. Let's play around. Xiao Hong explained, her expression insincerely as she wiped her face with her back. You blush when you kick. Lu Qin thought of breaking her head and couldn't figure out why. She was still very simple. How could she think that Ye Kong didn't kick with ordinary legs? Xiao Hong was left to deal with Lu Qin, and Ye Kong was busy dealing with some ancestral rogue. Hey, my ancestor, please do nt be silent next time. If you do nt look at it arrogantly. Respecting the privacy of others is a basic requirement for people. Knowing if you have been snooped for a long time will make me mad. Psychological. How can it be so serious? You were violent mad. Huang Quan's ancestors also knew it was wrong. Instead of being so straightforward and muttering, look, what's the matter? Okay, I'm wrong. It's pretty much the same. Remember to remind me of the scene in the future. My father, I miss women too, you know, I haven't touched a woman for 100,000 years. How long is it for 100,000 years, you know, boy? Ye Kong angered, why do you still say such a thing? Half a year ago, Mrs. second, didn't you touch enough? It's still 100,000 years. I'm used to it. Huang Quan blushed and shifted the topic. What kind of drama you just talked about, so beautiful? I also want to watch the ancestors. It's best to be undressed. Thing, haha, and then make a show for everyone to watch. Ye Kong fainted. Old man, you are also a talented person. Love can be thought of by you. When eating at noon, Ye Kong said to Chen Juniang and asked her to go to the theater together, but Chen Juniang was unwilling to go out because she was unwilling to go out because of her face, so she refused to go with the black veil. Ye Kong knew that Chen Juniang was no longer just a scar problem. She had already had psychological problems. She stayed at home for a long time without seeing a stranger, which made her afraid to go out and to see a stranger. Never mind, mother, you can rest at home. Ye Kong's idea of finding medicine for Chen Juniang was even stronger. To solve these problems of Chen Juniang, all she had to do was to cure her face, and she could have no scars. Naturally out of Yefu, without psychological barriers, he dared to deal with strangers. In the afternoon, at the entrance of Tibetan Spring House. The weather is cold, but it can't stop the enthusiasm of the audience. There is a long line in front of the ticket window, and one of the 50 texts can be seen. Although it is not cheap, most of the citizens of the southern capital can still afford it. There are two kinds of tickets. The 50-character ticket is an ordinary ticket. Sitting in the back row, each person has a large chair with a cup of fragrant tea. There is also a ticket that is slightly more expensive. It is the front row. That is a small round table. The table counts 4 positions, 2 or 2 silver in each position, and offers some simple drinks and snacks. The front row is close, you can see clearly, and the seat is also spacious, so those who have a little money are scrambling to buy the front row seats. As for those who bring their friends and relatives, it is even a pack of tables. In this way, it is inevitable that the position is tight and it is difficult to get a ticket. At the ticket gate, an old gentleman is annoyed. He had heard about the recent drama. Today I want to see what is going on. I came without lunch. Who? Ji wrote to him, the front row is gone. He's not trying to be comfortable. The key is that he can't hear well when he's older. Old man, the back row is also good, 50 words, said the ticket salesman. Well, since it's here, you can't go back empty-handed. The old gentleman just wanted to pay for it. There was a young man next to him and he pulled the old man's arm. Hey, you always look like a person who can sit with those mud-legged people together. The old man said unpleasantly, farming is the root of the country. Before stabilizing, how can you despise farmers so much that you can't eat enough food without them to grow rice, and you can still stand here? Don't say you have money, a great waste in the future. Can you eat silver for dinner? The next few really came up from the nearby village. When they heard the old gentleman speak for them, they immediately glared at the young man. In that year, the young ox was actually a scalper, but he didn't expect to say anything casually, and he was put on the line, knowing that this is a joke old school. He smiled bitterly, took out 2 front seat tickets, and said, "The old gentleman is furious. I bought the ticket. I bought it in the morning. I had something temporary in the afternoon. I didn't have time to watch it and transferred it to you. There are 3 or 2 silver coins in each position." The old man does not often watch movies, and he doesn't know that there is still an ox. Even though the other party added 1 or 2 silvers, he didn't mind. He took out the silver and bought a ticket to enter the field. As long as won, the ox is a little depressed, and it seems that it will continue to sell. The ox can be said to be a huge profit. After a few tickets a day, a few dollars are in hand, which is more than a few months of labor. This ticket still sells very well. After a while, another rushing veteran came over and bought the remaining one. I still wanted it. No more. Boss Feng, it's been half a year since I thought about it, it's still so hot. Standing not far away, in front of the small door leading to the second floor of Zhangchun Tower, the Lu family brothers wearing short fur and the wind-like mother with a wide white fox fur were waiting casually while chatting. Yeah, now the income of the theater garden, the part of me alone is more than the income of the girls. Feng Xiniang looked at the queuing audience is also beaming. She began to stage the Dragon Tiger Brotherhood in the Tibetan Spring Tower. She was not very happy. If it was not for the sake of the 8th master, she would not have promised to let those 3 teachings and 9 streams crowd into the Tibetan Spring Tower. After all, she is upscale local. But who knows that this thing has become a hit and the business is so bad that the ticket income is a large number, plus the consumption of drinks and snacks by the audience. She and the Dragon Tiger gang have made a lot of money. The girls in Zhangchunlu are also very happy. The audience is getting a lot of traffic and their business is also good. Especially in the play, there is still a need for girls. They only need to take a turn to play. Even if they are little stars, their value is doubled. Those who have money, the audience also spent a few more tastes. All make money, and everyone is happy. Everyone knows that this is Master 8's idea. He made money and was thinking about Master 8's goodness. So today I heard that Master 8 is coming. Long Hu and his brothers lined up outside the building. If without Master 8, there would be no us today. Lu Jun said suddenly with emotion. He also felt very lucky. If it was not for his firm conviction and going to the rain to report, where is the good day in front of him? Yes, Master 8 is really a dragon among people. A small idea can help us to help rich people, and I will serve him alone in my life. Lu Yi admired Ye Kong more. One idea of Master 8 is that there are thousands of troops and horses. God, how many lands and gangs are there in the Kangnan continent, but who thinks of acting to promote themselves? Master 8 said, this is called image engineering, gang culture. I don't know why Master Yao's ghost ideas are so many, haha. Feng Xiniang covered her mouth with a smile, and Fen Jiayun made people feel emotional. At this time, another gust of wind came, blowing the horns of the wind siren's white fox cape wavy and rolling. She tightened the large white hairy cloak, because it was tight and thin, so the cold resistance effect was relatively poor. Why she wears so tight, that is not for the 8th master. Feng Xiniang didn't want to admit it. The 8th master was only 15 years old. He was twice as old as him. If he married early, it would be normal for a child to be so old. But why is such a little boy able to turn himself into a wave of waves like a stagnant heart? However, look at the equivalent brothers of the Lu family next to them, and they are relieved. The 2 brothers are younger than themselves, but they admire Master 8 and even admire him even more than themselves. Yes, as if Ye Kong is a god. So many men older than him admire him so much. I am a woman, admiration, isn't it impossible? Master 8 is here, suddenly someone shouted, interrupting Feng Xiniang's thoughts, raised her head, and saw the word Xianxia coming. The Mad Cultivator. Author, Xianxia. Chapter 81. Chapter 80. The Little Overlord. Haha, Lu Jun, you're strong again. Hurry up and find a sister-in-law for Xiaoqin. Also, Lu Yi has to cheer. Your mother is waiting to hug her grandson. Master 8, don't care about us, don't delay yourself. Lu Jun also looked at Ye Kong with a smile, and then looked at Lu Qin. Lu Qin was ashamed of him, and punched Lu Jun with a pink punch. Brother! What did you say? Lu Yi also laughed. That's the case with my daughter's family. Whenever she has a husband's family, she forgets her mother's family, and even fights her own brother. Wow, you really come, help. Ye Kong watched them, and shouted to Feng Xiniang, Boss Feng, I haven't seen you for a long time. The business is good. Oh, that's not the blessing of Master 8. Feng Xiniang was carefully dressed today. Not only was her dress tightly enchanted, her black hair was meticulous, her forehead was deliberately hanging, it was very touching. And that face was also covered with powder, like a girl. Although Feng Xiniang was very happy on her face, she was crying in her heart. The 8 young masters also took 2 of them. And that Lu Qin even made her inferior. She was so young that she would not say it. The girl was really handsome. She was tall and had white skin. The most beautiful thing was the little beauty mole under the corner of her mouth. The birth position is really pretty, not too high, not too low, not too big, not too small, whether it is laughing or shy, it has a touching style. It's cold outside, everyone is invited inside. Feng Xiniang was frustrated in her heart, and without saying more, she led Ye Kong and others to go upstairs. Ye Kong did not enter the theater from the theater, but went upstairs directly from the door. The second floor is the old business project, but there are a few rooms on the second floor that are very nice. You can see the stage below, so it was changed into a private box by Feng Xiniang. For ordinary VIPs, you can sit in the box, drink, watching a show, and then engaging in women is already the happiest life in Kangnan. Soon came the best box on the second floor. There were 2 tables in the room. There were fruits and snacks on the table. There was a large window across the table. When the window opened, it was facing the lower stage. To be clear, even the situation in the auditorium below is clear. This table is for men, and one is for women. This is not to discriminate against women. The key is that men and women talk about different topics on the table, and the items on the table are different. Melon and fruit snacks are the mainstay, and the men's side is dominated by drinks. Ye Kong and Lu's brothers sat at one table, while Feng Xiniang took Xiaohong and Lu Qin to another table. This VIP box is different. Everyone also has a text version of the lyrics, so that VIPs can read them, and if they don't understand, they can take out the lyrics and read them. Of course, Ye Kong is not an ordinary VIP. He enjoys more than that. Soon, 3 men and 1 woman stood in front of Ye Kong and others. You are just a few starring actors. Well, yes, it's interesting, Ye Kong said with a smile. The actors in the Kangnan mainland are still in the primary stage. They will never be as handsome as the earth. This is the Kangnan mainland. The audience cannot accept it. So when Ye Kong looked at it, he guessed that the tallest and most handsome was the pheasant, the other square face was banana skin, and the sharp-billed monkey cheek was awkward, and that was 4 eyes. Finally, the pretty woman was actress Harumi. Thank you Master Ye and your grandma for your appreciation. Although some of the protagonists are now sought after by many fans, in front of Ye Kong, they are still not qualified to sit. Seeing these 4 people, Xiaohong felt a little excited. She was not a star chaser. She felt that the protagonists of the family members were all kneeling all day, and she actually kneeled down to herself and went back to have something blown to them. Well, Yekong motioned to them, then said, "Play well." I heard a word. The moment an actor stands on the stage, you are no longer you. Everyone laughed around, and Kangnan mainland operas didn't have a high status. The theory of performing arts was even lacking. No one understood Yekong's meaning. "He isn't him, who is that?" Feng Xiniang twisted Lu Yao's waist and walked over, standing on the side of Yekongzu, asking with a smile. "Of course he is not him. He has become the character played. From entering the role, you are the pheasant is you, the love and hatred of the pheasant, so that you can realize, you must not look at it from the side. From the perspective of the individual." Although Yekong doesn't know much about these aspects, but the Kangnan continent can't talk about acting at all. It's just based on the sing words. At most the female characters have a few eyes. How can they have the concept of substituting the protagonist? At first, several actors were also lost in thought. After Yekong said, he waved, "Go ahead and play well, and let you play the second episode." "Thank you, Master 8." The four of them hurriedly gave a gift again. The money and reputation that this first episode brought to them was already exciting. If the second episode is played, the popularity will surely be even stronger. Several male horns were overjoyed, and they immediately scratched their heads. The protagonist, King Mei, was even watered by autumn spines, throwing them at Yekong. The brothers of the Lu family also remembered the second episode, and quickly asked, "Master 8, the literati who wrote the words are readily available, waiting for Master 8's idea." Yekong laughed, "The second episode, then use Hao Nan's story." Of course, the idea of the second episode was not in a hurry. Several actors were happy to leave, and King Mei made an expression of reluctance to leave. Lu Yi scrambled to Yekong's ear and said, "How is this actress? I chose it, isn't it? There are no hidden rules, right?" Yekong replied, "Should your kid have already been there?" When Yekong guessed, Lu Yi blushed, "Master 8, you are so god. You know that, or you try it? You are not afraid that Ziokin will beat you?" Yekong gave him a chestnut indignantly, cursing, "Find a serious girl to get married and have a son, your mother is waiting to hug her grandson, that King Mei will do it, and it's not serious." The actor went down and was about to start, but there was a little dispute in the audience. It turned out that the old man who bought the ticket from the ox, he sat there drinking tea while waiting for the show to start, but at this time, trouble came. I saw a guy with a high horse and a big horse came in. As soon as he came in, he sat down with the old man, and then said, "It's time for you to make money, and I will pay $5 or $2 to buy your tickets. Get another ticket in the back row, hurry up." A round table had 4 seats, and the other 2 audience members heard about such a good thing. They quickly took the silver and changed their tickets to the back row to watch. A ticket is only 2 or 2 silvers. Now that they have 5 or 2, they are also given 1 in the back row. They have to watch and make money. That tall man, and many people present thought so. What surprised them was that there were really stupid people. The old man didn't move, and asked, "Well, do you want to invite friends to watch it? If you have relatives and friends from other places, you have to watch it today." Then the old man transfers the ticket with you at the original price, but it's okay. But if your friend is not in the field, he will leave immediately. Man, the old man wouldn't. I said, "The old man, what are you talking about? I can't hear you. I'll add 2 or 2 more silvers and 7 or 2 silvers to buy your seat. Can't you go?" Gao Dai's eyes glared. The old man shook his head, and said patiently, "This insider, I mean, if you are in a hurry, I will transfer the original price. If you are in no hurry, let the old man sit here and watch." Then I heard a laugh and laughed, "There is a bird urgent in Ben Ben, and no friend is coming over. To tell you the truth, Ben Ben does not like to sit at a table with people. I just like to dominate, 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 and dominate. I just came from Andu, where no one doesn't know me to kill the little overlord. The old man also had a bad temper, and when he heard that the boy was doing this kind of virtue, he was angry, patted the table, and said angrily, "This isn't Andu. The old man bought a ticket, he has the right to sit here and see the opera sing. Like you, those who have to dominate everything, they must not end well. Cut, it's nice to say, isn't it like asking for more money?" The little bully looked at the old man and felt that although the old man was not poor, he must not be rich, and he was not an official. The guy came from Angwo. Seeing people also has a set, so he crossed Erlang's legs and said lightly, "Old man, how about 12 silver? The old man smiled angrily, "Don't you look at me like a man without money." 52, said the little bully, and there was a sound of air conditioning around him. My God! Inexplicably, I have made a fortune. 52 silvers have been enough for the poor to use at home for several years. The audience around them is depressed. Why didn't the rich bully come to this table? Listening to the surrounding excitement, Xiaoba Wang also enjoyed it. A small place is a small place. I am from the capital, and $50 will kill you. In everyone's view, the old man should take the money away. Even if there are more people with integrity, these 52 will stun him. Don't you want to do that? Facts have shown that there are still people who are hated by money. The old man didn't even look at silver, and waved his hand. This matter has not been discussed. Although you have money in the house, I will let you know that there are still impoverished and mighty people in this world. Damn. I understand, dare to love you, you still have no shortage of money. The little bully was finally annoyed, so forbearing today, he was very restrained, but the old man really annoyed him. Throw it out for me, the little bully roared, but the two soldiers were very strange, and did not rush into it, but watched around. Others do not know, they know that this is to see the plague god. There is an unwritten rule among the servants, to come to Tibet Chunlu to work, you must first look at the plague god, and find that someone is there, then you must hide the plague god. If the plague is not, then you can rest assured to work boldly. It wasn't timidity, but the memory that Tibetan Chunlu gave them was too deep. A look, not here. The two soldiers immediately arrogantly, the fox fake tiger pretended, old guy, shameless face. This is the son of Cheng Xiaofu's new master who, and you can offend? Since you don't want money, don't blame the brothers. Seeing that the two soldiers were about to catch the old man, he only heard a thunderous roar from above his head, "Who dares? Who dares to touch my teacher? I want his life." Hearing the sound of the two soldiers, they had no urine pants. God of plague, who does nt bring such fun? What do you say, you are okay to stay above us?